Dear ones, many of you consider yourselves to be above petty inconveniences such as paying bills or interacting with those you do not like or cannot relate to. Not that you believe you are better than others, but that you feel you no longer need to be active in such 3D actions. That you should be floating through the heavens or greeting your new life. While such is true to a certain extent, you are creating that which makes you most comfortable in your new earth. You are part of that new earth. You will not skip from 3D to floating through the heavens, as you phrase it, until you transition from earth in this lifetime. So it is you are alert to earth needs because you are of earth. Perhaps that thought frightens you, for you believe that the unpleasant aspects of your earth life would disappear as you created new you in new earth. Such is not an accurate portrayal of your earth reality. Even though you are combining heaven and earth, you are of earth until you transition. So the petty aspects of your life need to be addressed, not as a punishment, but as a creation of your earth life. You created the life you are now living or are in the process of creating. There is no vicious God punishing you for past ills. Nor are you less talented than others creating the life of their dreams. The life you have now was created by you for a reason, whether joyful, frightening or painful. Your logical action would be to understand why you created this life. But then, logic no longer applies with your new you being. Logic is of the mind. Love of self and others is of the heart. You are evolving from logic to heart at warp speed. And your heart being needs to love you as much as anyone. You are valuable. Most likely, more valuable than you realize. For you are the scoutmasters / pioneers / way showers of New Earth. You learned that love is the key for new you and new Earth. Now you are learning to apply that love, starting with yourself. A piece that is fairly difficult, not to understand, but to act upon. You wonder if self-love is wrong or selfish. Because acting on self-love often feels wrong, even though the result is you accepting yourself for who you are. You believe you can love yourself a bit, but if someone requests this or that, and acquiescing takes away from something you want or need, you still feel uncomfortable negating their request. Such is not loving someone, that is valuing them more than yourself. Perhaps you believe that entity is more important or less powerful than you, or too young or too old to take care of themselves. Are they bringing light to earth? Does that mean you play God or accept a world parent role? All are control issues. But unlike what you perhaps believe, control of yourself. Insisting that you are stronger, better, or more powerful than others, so you must deny yourself anything of joy, contentment, or peace until others less wonderful than you are taken care of. Again, a caretaker role, one you were certain you put aside. And so you have at more visible levels, but your need to caretake others at your expense continues in so many little ways throughout your day. You are not responsible for those of Earth or for being a good girl or boy for the universes. You are a young universal being learning to maneuver in new Earth with a new physical being. You do not have the energy to caretake others. Nor is such even close to your new you role. How can you project self-love to others if that self-love is merely another caretaking role? The obvious question is, how can an infant, disabled or a very elderly person care for themselves? How indeed? Is it not time for you to note their strengths and to be beside them as they evolve into their new being, instead of forcing them into the box you feel is right for them? For when you decide what they need and try to fulfill those needs, you are moving from a love role to that of caretaker. No one of Earth requires a caretaker, even though such a servant, and that is the correct term, appears as a wonderfully loving role. That is not to say infants need to be self-sufficient, but instead for you to act with love and dignity for yourself as well as others. Loving yourself, as much as others, is a gift given to Earth. Putting others before yourself is a repetition of all you learned for eons. If you are not living in joy, you cannot impart that sensation to anyone, including your children. Children have not yet learned how to mask their emotions or the emotions of others. They know when you are sad, mad, or frustrated, even if they cannot yet label such emotions. To pretend otherwise only confuses and teaches them that masking emotions is correct for Earth life. You are their role model. The same is true for the very elderly, the disabled, the disenfranchised. As more Earth entities allow themselves to feel and express their emotions, those who remain disingenuous, 3D beings, will be more and more uncomfortable, for others will know their words and actions do not sync. It is becoming more difficult to pretend to be someone you are not, for you are beginning to truly love yourself. And as you do, you are discovering that caretaking others, pretending to be who they wish you to be or who you think you should be, is neither right nor comfortable for you or them. So it is you are learning how to be honest with yourself and others. Even though your honesty does not necessarily meet society's 3D expectations, you cannot do less and continue to grow in loving yourself. So be it. Amen.